Institutional quality models have been a mystery to a lot of people. Today, I'm going to show you how you can build the exact same quality model from scratch, like Blackstone and KKR. The number one mistake of building the financial model is don't know what you want to build. You really don't want to build a super complex model with 20 tabs for a 2-unit multifamily development and vice versa, right? So to get started, I would really recommend you to have a model specification, right? That can be just remind yourself what you want to build, what kind of inputs you want to have, what kind of calculations you have in mind, what kind of outputs. So there's nothing crazy at this point. Once you have that, you wouldn't get lost. As we build progressively, it is very easy to lose all those things in the context. Then the first formal step is to let the AI system to create a blueprint, right? It's like when you are building a house, you just don't want your contractors to start building. You want to let the AI system to have a blueprint, especially when you're building a complex financial model. Build a blueprint in the format of MD file, which is my favorite. Needs to be as detailed as possible so we can build the model on top of that. So let's see. If you're using Cloud, just click send. But if you're using Apers, there's a pretty magical button. You can enhance your prompt. So I'll just click that. So I'll just send this. And the AI will be able to read our specification to understand what kind of model we want to build, and then start crafting a blueprint MD file, which we will be using that to start building the model. All right, now we have the blueprint, essentially like how we build a building, right? The blueprint. And let's take a look at the proposed version. Does it have everything we need for the assumptions? Yes, unit mix, soft cost, and timeline and phasing logic. Perfect. So we'll be start building the model with this blueprint. If you want to correct certain things, you can always do that for the MD file, or you can just add it the whole thing. Make sure that this file is 100% correct, because if there's a mistake here, everything will be wrong, and it's much more computationally expensive to correct mistakes down the road. All right, so let's start building that. There are two ways for you to do it. Either you can just let the system start building following the blueprint, or my personal favorite is to at least have one to-do list for the AI. Sometimes if you're using headless Cloud Code or some other AI, they will have that, but usually I prefer having the to-do list as detailed as possible so we can check before we officially kickstart the process. So let's just say, great, let's have a to-do list for the model building in multiple phases. Imagine this is a very complex model. We don't want AI to build everything all at once, so we can examine and review the model phase by phase in MD file, right? Again, we prefer MD file. Now, what we're asking is to let the system to understand the model structure, the specification, and the blueprint. So once we have a detailed to-do list, the AI system will be able to build everything phase by phase, so it will not get lost in the context window when it's getting really long. And we can also have multiple sessions to build on top of each other to save a lot of compute. So I will say approve. And now we have a proposed to-do list here. Apers actually had 8 phases, right? It's actually pretty complex. But now we have that, and Apers is suggesting to kick off the phase 0. And before we build, if we do have a certain style that we want to use, now is the time to import those skills. Fortunately, Apers does have a Blackstone style, which we call BX design skill. You can just add BX design skill and just tell Apers, kick off the session for phase 0 to phase 3. We prefer using the BX design style, right? And as you can see, the skill has been imported into the library, which means the AI will be able to use that as a reference. So the output will be consistent and it's not rolling the dice. As we can see, the AI is reviewing our blueprint, reviewing the design standard, and is asking for our permission to create a model. For the purpose of illustration, I will click always approve. But if you're building this for yourself, I highly recommend you to just approve every single time so you know what's going on. And now, as you can see, the system is trying to update the tab color based on the design style. Let's give it a few seconds. The model building is a iterated process, and as you can see, sometimes AI will notice we have circular loop, and we don't want that. This AI system will be able to understand what's going on and try to correct that as much as possible during the building process. And right here, as you can see, the AI system noticed a certain thing we don't have for phase 0 to phase 3. And this is why it is so important to have a to-do list or a blueprint MD beforehand so the AI can come back and connect both. Perfect. Now the AI has already finished phase 0 to phase 3. And as you can see here, it noticed that certain parts of the model have not been built yet. Therefore, we do have some placeholders as we saw previously. But don't worry, because we have a to-do list and a blueprint, the AI will not get lost easily and will start progressively building on top of that. Now the AI has finished the phase 4 to phase 6. And usually this is a moment where you really want to pause and take a look and see if the logic is correct, especially when we have more complex return stream and the waterfall structure that we proposed in the specification. But at this point, let's proceed with phase 7 and phase 8. And we can tell the AI, let's finish phase 7 and 8. Now we have a fully built model based on our specification. And the whole model is formatted with BX style, which is exactly what we wanted. The final step of this model building, which is phase 8, is quality assurance. And the system has already processed certain checks of what certain things should be matched. And a bonus tip, once you have the model completed, what you really want to do is save this model so you can use in the future by just swapping the numbers. And instead of building every single time, which is very, very computational intensive, you want to save that to your library. So in the future, we can just reuse that for a different deal with drag and drop. To recap, to build a robust institutional model, you need to have one, a clearly defined specification. The AI will not be able to build what you want if you don't know what you want. And number two, it is always advised to have the blueprint and even the to-do list built by the AI before you build anything. And number three, you want to build the model phase by phase. Therefore, you can spot the mistakes if there's any, and it will be a lot easier to fix before the whole mistake has been cascaded down the full model. And then basically you have to rebuild everything from scratch. I hope this is helpful, and thank you so much for watching.